Yeah, well, first we should make a distinction between K-12 and higher ed. So in the K-12 space, federal funding is less than 10% of all school funding across the country. And it's worth noting, and say this is different than higher ed, right, where you get student loans, it's wholly federally funded, 93% of all loans are originated and serviced by the federal government. So two separate things. But in K-12 education, it's very important to remember that the Department of Education does not run a single school. It does not pay a single teacher salary. It does not educate a single child in America. And so I would assuage parents' concerns. And I would make the case to most parents, you will be better off when your local teacher, your local school principal is not having to worry about federal mandates handed down from the Department of Ed. And for taxpayers too, who I think are so often left out of the conversation, for them, it has meant their money is taken, sent to Washington, filtered through this ineffective bureaucracy, and then 65 cents on every dollar is sent back to local classrooms. And somehow that's supposed to improve educational outcomes or lead to academic excellence. And it clearly hasn't. So that's where I would start, just to assuage any concerns parents might have. And the other quick thing I would say is just because the Department of Education is eliminated, and we'll see what ultimately happens, doesn't mean that programs and spending go away. Most of the proposals that are out there, including ours, would move many of the programs that are actually effective or appropriate to other federal agencies. So you look at something like the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, funding under IDEA, that would move over to HHS. Data collection, things like the National Assessment for Educational Progress, send it over to the Commerce Department. Let the Census Bureau handle that. Student loans, move them into Treasury. So this idea that eliminating the physical structure of the Department of Education is somehow has negative benefits on education, I think it's quite the opposite.